After centering the clay, we started shaping the clay. We can use tools to make holes in clay. The step of centering is a very important step in making pottery. Only when the clay is well centered at the beginning can there be no problems in shaping the pottery later on. Pay attention to maintaining even force between tools and fingers when making holes. Slowly and evenly apply force from bottom to top, causing the clay wall to gradually become thinner, taller, or have larger openings. Beginners may not be able to shape the clay wall well at the beginning, but that's okay. We can use a trimming tool to make the clay wall smooth later. Here it is very important to ensure that your force is evenly applied. If you feel that the rotation speed cannot keep up with your strength, you can slightly increase the rotation speed, but try not to make it too fast. Otherwise the clay will deform and fly out. I want to emphasize it once more, if the center is not determined at first, there may be problems such as clay shaking and the inability to shape later. Of course, experienced potters can perfectly shape clay with their fingers. The content in this video is a quick way for beginners to get started. Generally, beginners need to follow this method a few more times to slowly find the feeling and create a perfect pottery work. After shaping the pottery, we can use a dryer to blow the clay semi-dry. We can then start trimming the pottery. If you think the pottery is perfect, you don't need to trim it later. But for beginners, trimming can greatly make your rough pottery more exquisite and perfect. We also need to pay attention to the way we use our tools here. We hold the tool in one hand and use one finger to hold it in place and apply even force to it. During this period, you can adjust it at any time, if you feel that the speed is not enough. We apply uniform force from bottom to top to trim the surface of the pottery. Pay attention to my error demonstration here. If you apply too much force to the tool, it will cause the wheel to stop, and pits will appear on the surface of the pottery. We need to pay attention to the use of force during the process of trimming the pottery. The entire process is relatively slow, so we shouldn't try to trim it all at once. The process of trimming pottery is relatively slow. We need to patiently and slowly apply force to trim it. Then we use the same method to trim the edges. The trimming method inside is the same. We always pay attention to our force control. Beginners can use their fingers to hold the tool in place and slowly apply force as shown in the video. Note here that if you can clearly feel your fingers and tools undulating along with the uneven edges of the pottery, it means that your force is not correct. The correct situation is that when your fingers apply force to the tool, both the fingers and the tool stay still. Small tips: wet one end of the trimming tool, so you can easily take away the clay inside. We can keep trimming the bottom of this cup. In the same way, pay attention to the force. One error demonstration here is that if the force is too much, the wheel will stop. If we have this problem, we will know that we have used too much force. We can adjust the force in time and continue to trim the pottery until we are satisfied. Okay, here are some common issues beginners have when using this mini pottery wheel machine. I hope it will be useful to you. Let's enjoy the joy of making pottery together.